GM, we are back. How back? I mean, Solana Seeker phones are shipping this week. We're about to find out if Sleep is a game that I'm either winning or losing. Anton, tell me, how are the vibes? How you feeling? Dude, market's going crazy. Great time to be in crypto, man.
It is. Thanks for having me today, GM everyone. Crazy times in crypto. Market's up one day, market's down another day, but we are up on the month. So never been as back as this for a while.
Well, we're about to find out if there's one game that we could win at or lose at, and that's sleeping. Based on the bags on my eyes, I'm probably going to tell you that I'm losing this game. But hey, I don't need to tell you. The app will tell me whether I am a winner or a loser here. But Anton, before we get into what Sleepagotchi is, dude, give me the icebreaker. What's the game you grew up playing with?
Oh, that's a great question. Really, I think it was the PES series, the Pro Evolution Soccer series. Also, definitely Mortal Kombat back on Sega Mega Drive 3. And World of Warcraft when it came out on online, it was wild. Like the vanilla, the OG one, Wrath of the Lich King, Burning Crochet, like it was amazing. Those times were amazing.
I don't know, man. For me, when like the whole FIFA competition of like when it came out, I don't know. For me, like that was a pretty. Remember, it used to be World Cup. Like, remember, it used to be called like World Cup something or however it was. Like the weird titles that it changed during that time period. But for me, during those time periods, like I don't know, it was such a challenge of graphics and like players and who had the actual players and like who you wanted to actually play with. The ratings to me for like what we got for players were so off that like I think that was just like that weird period of like online. I mean, console soccer during that time, and I was just like, man. But hey, man, as a FIFA player that's played college, has paid through my college expenses. I love a good old game. So, hey, man, Sleepagotchi, how did you get here, man? Like, tell me, like, is there something in life? Is there something in gaming? Was it that you were playing games late at night, not getting enough sleep, that you said, hey, I need to figure out what my sleeping score is? Why do I gamify this? How did you get started?
Yeah, great question. I came to the US from Europe, and I came there for my like business school education. And when I came to the US, I thought, look, I actually want to enter the gaming space, but in particularly, I want to enter something on the edge between gaming and tech. In particular, kind of using this gaming for good. You know how games can be very addictive, and you can like spend hours and hours and hours on this, and some games really take it to the extreme, so that you not only spend time but also like a lot of money. And I always thought, like, what if you can channel this energy, those tools that game designers have developed, into a sort of like productive activity? And Duolingo was one such a company which had this insight that, look, you on your phone 4 hours a day, might as well spend some of the time like learning Spanish or learning Chinese or learning like English, using all the same like gamification techniques. They had early people from Zynga, they had early people from other stuff. And I just saw that, hey, you could use the gamification stuff to really like drive habitual change. So I kind of, worked through a bit of Duolingo, and during exactly the same time, like Steppen was going crazy on the Solana network, and Steppen was similar stuff, like using games, gamification, plus Web3 to really change how people think about walking and running. And I thought, wow, I mean, that's a real paradigm shift how to think about consumer apps, how to think about consumer experiences, and I wanted like to use it for another vertical. And the first idea was, hey, we should gamify water bottles. Like, it would be cool. Like, have a water bottle, like drink it. It wasn't like getting enough hydration back then, I think. And quickly, we built like prototype with my friend in like 4 weeks, and we realized, nobody's gonna like, nobody tracks really water like at scale. Like, you need like either like you need like a hardware device, like a hardware bottle for that. Always like refill it. What if you have a Coke? What if you have like a beer? Like, what are you gonna do about that? And then we built a product both there. Like, we have this NFT trading inside. It was like mini Steppen. And we thought, hey, let's like so hard to track. Like, what's so hard to track? What's easy to track? Sleep. Because alarm clock is already a sleep tracker. Let's just like completely change it. Like, let's change the water bottles to like beds and call it like Sleepagotchi. So that's how it all started, like back actually 3 years ago. It's like a random prototype me and my friend developed. And then we got like product hunt, product of the day. We got angel commitment from the CPO of Duolingo. And I thought, man, a lot of people think it's a good idea, not just not just me and a few other folks. And we started seeing traction, and the rest is history. And we've been really developing ever since, slowly and surely, trying to find the secret formula, right? How to really make it a sustainable and fun success to bring it to millions.
What do you think's one thing that you've learned outside of the app, but personally about sleeping that you now have uncovered because of Sleepgotchi?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing, it's a lot of people like care about optimizing their deep sleep or light sleep or REM sleep, different stages of sleep. But the truth is, it's all highly individual, and it's also very hard to optimize. Like, what do I have to do to actually have like 3 hours of deep sleep tonight rather than 2 hours? I don't know. Like, honestly, it's impossible. What I can do though is I can control my sleep schedule, is when I go to bed and when I wake up. That's the easiest to control. And also, what's the best thing? It's also the best predictor of all the other like good sleep that comes with it. So we realize that we actually need to focus not like on deep sleep and REM sleep and light sleep. We need to focus on your sleep schedule, on your sleep discipline. Do you go to bed at like 11 p.m. each night, 7 a.m. wake up, or is it 1 a.m. and 9 a.m. wake up? Doesn't matter. As long as you're consistent, you're good. So I realized myself that actually consistency is what I and you can control, and what also has, luckily for us, the most impact on our sleep score overall as well.
Hey man, is there a like handicap score for those that are like parents with kids? Because like you mentioned like the sleep and how many hours of sleep. I want to get 8 hours of sleep, but my kids don't want to let me get 8 hours of sleep. And you mentioned the alarm clock, and I set the alarm clock like 7:30 in the morning because like that's where I want to sleep to. But my kids come in at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, all right, ready for breakfast, ready for all this stuff. So man, like there should be some sort of like handicap score for those like parents and that are on Sleepgotchi right now.
I agree. I agree 100%. It's as we like to say it, with kids, your sleep is no longer a software issue; it's a hardware issue. Like, it's actually the kids who wake you up, not you yourself. So yeah, we have like a lot of stuff. We have like night shift workers who always like a different like time schedule, and they try to also like use it and not be handicapped. But for kids, what we noticed early on, like back from the early days, from our like most bootstrap prototypes, is that parents started onboarding their children into Sleepagotchi. Like in Sleepagotchi, it's an app used in the morning mostly. Like you wake up, get your sleep score, get your rewards, continue with the day. And we started seeing like dads and moms onboarding their kids into Sleepagotchi because A, it helps them to get them on bed and wake up on time. And B, it's actually like a nice bonding opportunity. Like parents and children discuss in the morning, hey, what did you get in the sleep box? What did you get in the morning reward flow? So early on, we actually made the product so that it's sort of like Pudgy Penguins, like accessible in its art style and graphic across the entire demographical area.
Yeah, it's funny, man. You really got me kind of like thinking of like the angles and the views of why this is such an important application, not just for adults, but also for like understanding kids' routines and even like other family members' routines, right? Parents and everything, like anybody really. It really starts making you think of like, hey, where are things going, right? Why is it important to know health science data and all of it, gamifying it, right? Because everything is gamified essentially in this whole world. It's you just don't realize or you don't see it, right? You're literally going sometimes to the grocery store and it's like coupons are here and it's like they're gamifying the coupon system to you. They're putting like the sale sign and it's like, hey, today it's on sale $9.99. Yesterday it was $10, and it's like you knocked off a penny, but the whole view of it is something different. And so you really make me understand more of why it's the way you're designing it. But take me really quickly from from a top down on Sleepagotchi on exactly what are you evolving with the user at mind. What is it that the user is trying to accomplish, right? Because it's a game. Essentially you're also in a game itself, your challenges in the game, but the end goal is really the sleeping aspect of it. But how does it evolve? Why is the user end journey for that user in the game?
Yeah. Early on we just thought, hey, what if you do like exactly what Duolingo did and just, get your sleep, throw some leaderboards at it, throw some streak at it, it's gonna work. But then we sort of realized, it's not gonna be enough. Like with sleep, people need some additional motivation to keep it. It's the most important health habit, arguably, but it's also like the easiest to just throw away, to not think about it. You notice when you like a bad sleep, but you notice at like a long period of time. So it's also like a very hard habit to keep yourself accountable to. And we realized, hey, we should make you. How do you get invested into sleep? Right? We should make you get invested into the world of Sleepagotchi first. You get invested into the game, into the characters, into the adventures, so that then you become also invested into your own sleep. So sleep is sort of like additional stuff to the world of Sleepagotchi that we built. You play Sleepagotchi, you get more invested into the game, and in turn, you start caring more about the sleep because with the sleep, your character becomes stronger. You get more. You get to open more adventures. You get to see more cool stuff inside your app. So to get you to care about sleep, we get you to care about the virtual characters inside Sleepagotchi first.
No, I love the way that you, again, that's just again understanding the how you provide an immersive experience for somebody, but again, gamifying it. And I think like my question to you is there is there a route to just not gamify it for somebody that is doesn't have the time to play the game but really kind of wants to record the sleep and be able to track it? And when occasionally maybe I have that time, because there are people with different time schedules. How do you are able to manage the two users that there is on Sleepagotchi?
That's a very good question. We don't get that question asked often, but it's a very very good product question and game design question. We are aware that not everybody has like to build like a cool game and cool ecosystem. You need players like grinding it and spending hours in that. But obviously, this is going to be counterintuitive to our mission, right? It's going to be counter mission to like help you sleep. Well, you get an extra hour of sleep. Now you're gonna get an extra hour of gaming. Like, what is this, right? And the idea for us, from a product perspective, is we have two types of users. One is very casual, and one is kind of the more hardcore, like mid-core player. And in Sleepagotchi, both can enjoy their time. Effectively, if you only have like 1 minute per day just to get your sleep score, hey, you log in into the app, you collect your items. The items can be valuable, they can be tradable NFTs, and then you continue with the day, right? You don't have to use it anymore. 1 minute is enough. Check your sleep score, get the sleep box, open it, continue. And if you have some time, or if some other people have time who actually have the 1 hour to spend on it, they actually kind of spend more time, they get more into the story, and they also then generate the demand, right, for the items that you open up inside this minute. So our usage is actually very peculiar in many ways, because we have, most games just have like we need very long time playtime sessions. Playtime session is great, and we're like, hey, yes, it's great, but we also need to keep in mind we need to make so that the product stands for itself just for 1 minute a day or for 2 hours a day. We need to optimize for two sets of parameters at the same time.
Yeah, like I think that's just the most important thing that's missed in Web3, is understanding that there's different users with different mechanics. Like not everyone is like, a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, the circle's gonna fit, the ball will fit in the circle, and it's like, nah, man, it's a square trying to go into a ball, and it's like it doesn't fit. And so I love that you've thought about, hey, like there will be different users. How do we make sure that we adapt to the different users? How do we make sure that the two different users are still making it to the end goal, right? Because it could be coming from two different worlds, but as long as that they understand what the end goal is, that would make them more effective and wanting to stay on the platform. What do you think right now is what's making people stay on the platform? You mentioned the rewards with the NFTs. You mentioned, again, like right now, some of the rewards that I'm seeing on the application. But what do you think right now? Is it outside of rewards, what is it, or maybe inside of rewards, what is it right now that the users are truly right now being able to kind of like say, man, this is something I need to incorporate in my daily life?
Yeah, I mean, it's sleep is like the next 10,000 steps. Like, how everybody was tracking 10,000 steps. Right now we are seeing the shift in the mood of the public towards sleep. More and more people care about sleep. They take, 8 hours is now, it's good. Like it used to be like hustle culture used to be, sleep 4 hours, wake up 6 a.m., continue with the day. Now it's like, hey, actually I want to go to bed, get my 8 hours, and then be productive. And we try to ride it. Like we ride this trend effectively as Sleepagotchi. And effectively right now we shipped the app only like 7 days ago. We only were like in closed betas before, or alphas. Right now, like a week ago, we kind of did the preview campaign to, hey, this is part of the game, what's coming, of the apps is coming, please try it out. And we are seeing like big adoption. Like we are seeing some very, very promising numbers, both in A, user numbers, and B, in terms of the retention as well. And what I think that people sometimes maybe miss about Sleepagotchi is that mm, it's not only a game, it's also like an app. And whereas people from games can churn, it's actually very hard to churn from a utility app over time. And we still have players with a 1,000+ day streak who've been logging in for 1,000 days plus, day in, day out, since our very, very first early prototype. We have 1,000+ users with a streak more than 365 days. Like, there is no airdrop in the world that can justify, right, such a long experience, such a long usage of that. So we effectively, because we're kind of structured as an app, and there's like a very, very clear time frame for the usage, which is the morning, people incorporate this naturally. Like, and I can be a little bit more specific, is that people open Sleepagotchi before WhatsApp, before Instagram, based on the data. Like that's what we compete for. We don't compete for your 7 p.m. like Fortnite session or like Call of Duty session with your friends. We compete for your morning session, like 1 minute a day. Just give it 1 minute. That's fine.
You made me think of like, okay, how are you kind of like now integrating the Web3 layer to what you just mentioned, right? Like, because now you've really, for me, like when you mentioned that you're looking at this as an app, right, as a data app, you quickly made me think of like what does Web2 see? What does Web2 see as a newbie coming in, right? Because like, how do I share this at a dinner table with my grandmother, my mother, my kids? Like, how does everybody able to integrate into this and not have to have that burden of the technology questions of create your wallet, sign your wallet, all these kind of stuff? How are you envisioning the Web3 integration or the layer of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we've been in like in a PvP environment for a very long time inside Web3. We need some more PvE environment, and for that we need to make new people coming in and new people not having fear about the space. So we actually don't know, like we don't actually tell you like during the onboarding that there's like some Web3 involved. Like we don't ask you to create wallets. We're only going to ask you to create wallets once it's time to withdraw your rewards. But until then, we don't want to like tell you, hey, you need to buy an NFT to play this. Hey, you need to sign like or do something with it. Like it's just such a massive friction point. Like right now, we actually have a login page before the game, before the app experience. I don't like the Gmail login. I want it to be as late as possible. All right. So we try to make it so that let me just share the app a little bit. It's gonna be easier, like share my screen. But you basically get your dino inside this room who walks around, and each of those items, a lot of them you want to be tradable, like rare tradable items. So you customize your room, and effectively, does your grandmother or like your child needs to know that this thing can be tradable on Solana or on blockchain? Hey, as long as I can send it to my friend, and as long as maybe he can send me like $2 back, for example, for it, then I intuitively understand this, and and once we as developers abstract away everything else to make this transaction as smooth as possible, it's gonna go like viral, right? We're just waiting, right, to build everything out once we have all those social stuff inside.
Yeah, and you made me starting thinking about like data from that, from like why it's so important to track data, but also like how important it is to have a decentralized data versus going on like the ones that you see, the I don't know what, like these rings and watches and like all these things that I even have that I've probably consented to a million different things, and I don't even know what I consented for, right? The data there though is really important for them because again they turn around. Why is it important for Sleepagotchi and data and for Web3 users to be able to say, hey man, like there's a lot more power to you at your own hands rather than some massive giant Samsung or whatever it is that takes that and goes and runs with the data?
Yeah, absolutely. We um, there is a deepen angle to Sleepagotchi. We don't push it out too much, but we do generate like a ton of data from all sorts of sources. We are effectively an aggregator of all devices. Like we integrate with Aura, with Fitbit, with Whoop, with every single device. So with every single device. So effectively, uh, we allow users to effectively own it, right? And in the future, if we decide to share this data with somebody, we're going to ask you, hey, do you want to do it? And B, do you want to get rewards for it? All right, that's where also the value is coming in. Is for there are folks who are prepared to pay for this data. Why not get paid directly rather than some random company you don't know about and you don't have any stake in?
Yeah, the reason I ask is because, like, man, the partnerships that you guys could form, right, with like health, diets, meditation, all these things that like the watch makes you do now, right? It's like it'll tell me like, hey, Jorge, stop and breathe, and it's like, okay, and it's like meditate, right? But like again, with sleeping is in order to get to that like ultimate sleep, there are things throughout the day that you need to do in order to get ready, the brain ready for sleep, right? Because or else you'll be laying in bed, and turning the blue screen on and off and all these things that you have to do nowadays just to get like ready for bed if you're looking at your cell phone before bed. I think that the partnership aspect of what you guys are building is just massive, right? There's going to be so many different partners that would want to come on board and work with you outside of Web3, Web2 as well. And I think like how do we start positioning ourselves that this is why Web3, the blockchain technology that's powering all this, is vitally important for the future of data, of gaming, of sleeping, of an application like Sleepagotchi. And I think like I think you guys are very much nailing that. Just trying to understand now like where partnerships are going to be falling and how you guys are going to want to attack that.
Hey, like one of the partnerships is like exactly the wearable devices. Like, hey, we had a partnership with Kudis, right, for building on Solana, for example. And in the future, like for example, you could say, hey, Kudus owners are going to receive extra rewards for this specific week, and then in that way we incentivize official users to get the Kudus devices. Right? It can be any other device like Samsung or Aura or Fitbit or Apple Watch. Another one that I think people sometimes miss is that because we develop sort of high fidelity virtual rooms for our users to have, is like over here, like the lanterns, the wardrobe over there. We want those items to be branded with very cool like Web3 stuff. We want it to be like a bonk themed carpet. We want it to be like a plush Bengu, like over there sitting with you. Like we want you. We want the owner. First of all, we want to bring new eyeballs to those communities, but we also want those communities to be like, hey, I got something for holding a token. And we actually had a Telegram app as well called Sleepagotchi Lite, which we used to go to market, which became top 5 grossing game on Telegram even before we launched this thing. And we did a bonk activation. We said, hey, if you hold 1,000 bonk, we're going to give you a cool card, which you can use inside the Telegram minigame. And we were able to drive 10,000 new wallets, new Solana addresses, new net new bonk holders to the bonk ecosystem through this partnership. So effectively, we can drive a lot of new people who are outside of this ecosystem into like the Solana space, for example.
Yeah. No, I think like my brain right now is going a million miles an hour with like what you just mentioned is like, I come from the Web2 space in corporate and finance, and a lot of the times that like corporate and finances, they always push like their like apps, but they would brand it in their apps, right? And like you just mentioned, like Bonk in there, right? Like it'd be cool, like Nike, right? Like Nike Factory inside of there, and it's like the Nike store is pushing it with their application of like ways to gamify it. But again, like you mentioned, back to the steps, right? It's why they put tracking devices on shoes. Remember when that was a big thing, and like everybody's got to go get the shoe with like to make sure the steps, and then it became the wearable, watches. And yes, my Kudus ring, you know what I mean? Like all these things that like are important. But I think like as I start understanding more of what you're saying, it's like, wow, the door is really open there for partnerships to like, I don't want to say white label because you don't have to white label, but white label aspects of the game where they're like, hey, it's a portal that allows them to get more into it. And I think that not many people understand right now that healthcare in the United States, at least in the United States, is definitely something that is coming down hard. And Web2 companies are looking ways to improve health, right? And they are very much looking at apps like this. It's why they've been pushing, hey, how happy are you, and how are you doing your daily counts and all this stuff. And I think, man, you guys are entering a market that's definitely needing these kind of applications. That's definitely needing these. The users are seeking for an application like Sleepagotchi. So really hats off to you guys. Congratulations. Last kind of question for me though is 3 weeks. It's open. What do we got to do in these 3 weeks, man? What's the most important message right now for users while we're open right now?
Just go to the App Store and go to the Google Play Store, download Sleepagotchi, start getting your sleep scores, and start collecting your sleep streaks. And this is going to be accounted for at the future airdrop event that we are planning. So get on in and invite your friends. We have nice referral links over there as well that you can share with your friends and family to like also because we keep keeping track on that. So I will recommend, because we've been now out for 1 week, would suggest you to get out and in those 2 remaining weeks, get it done, download it. As mentioned, 1 minute per day in the morning. We don't ask for more, and we don't ask you to play for hours and hours at a time.
Why is it so important for somebody to know that they're not late to the game right now, right? It's been open for a week. There's 2 weeks left. But what's the message right now? It's like there doesn't matter when you join. The opportunity's still there for them.
Yeah, I want to say that as I think you mentioned, like there's just so many avenues this can go through partnerships with hardware providers, through partnerships with meme coins, through just even like the corporate space. Like this can become so big, and we believe it will become so big, and we've been working for 3 years effectively now that uh, it's like, are you going to like buy Bitcoin at $100 or $200? Like, that's how I would probably portray it. And we in 1 week you haven't missed that much, right? And in any case, what we are building, it's not going to be like a free gap. No, it's going to be used by a lot of people and outside of the space as well. So I think if you're listening to this, you're still like an early adopter for 100%.
Yeah. Look, man, Secret Phone comes out this week. The DApp store is going to be available. I know you guys are closing in the next 2 weeks, but when am I going to be able to download it again? How do we get involved again once the Secret Phone's out? Are you going to be on the Secret Phone? Give us the alpha.
Hey, we know the team from Solana quite well. We had some discussions before, so I'll keep this one not super detailed on the call, but
there you go.
Please follow us on like Sleepagotchi on our Twitter space or on Telegram. Also, we are at Sleepagotchi.
Awesome. Next 6 months are key in crypto. Next 6 months are key in Web3 gaming. A lot of it, there's definitely a great thing to prove right now. What do you think right now is the internal goal inside of your whiteboard at the team that you're really, either pushing for or really looking to accomplish with Sleepagotchi in the next 6 months that, is a great, like, hey, man, this is the way we want to prove to you guys why it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we think that everybody needs to be prepared for a big, crypto run that's coming up. There are many catalyzers that can happen. One, we can have a public company. We can have like a crypto company go public with the fungible token ready. That's going to be a massive catalyzer. Hey, we have the Solana ETF. That needs to happen. That's going to be another catalyzer for the space. So there are many headwind tailwinds that are positive for the space that can make the space ripping like in the next 6 months. We just want to be ready for the space. Get the app like as polished as possible, get community riled up, get everything ready so that when the time comes up, we are there. And we know this is going to happen. Jorge is going to happen. Everybody knows when the sheep is going to happen. Like, we're just waiting for the when, not if.
Yeah. Anton, give us quickly the plug, man. Twitter, Discord, the App Store. How do we download it? What's the name on Twitter? What's the website? How do we all get involved? How do we make sure that you turn your notifications on? How do we make sure that if you go on a date and you go on a dinner date and it's with your friend, you're telling everybody about Sleepagotchi, how do you make sure you send this to your ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend and say, this is why you need Sleepagotchi. We would have been together if you were using Sleepagotchi. Give us that alpha.
Just get Sleepagotchi. I think that that we go live with the actual Web3 components much sooner than some people think. And download it now on iOS, on Android, Sleepagotchi. Follow us on Sleepagotchi, so every media. Or last thing, the website is sleepagotchi.com. Like, everything is just Sleepagotchi. I do have like a code I can share if I can maybe bring it up on screen. You can use this code to get like extra rewards inside Sleepagotchi. Like, it's a booster pack that's going to like boost you.
Is it the code you just shared with me in the private chat?
Yeah. If you can.
All right, I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop the code to everybody on every channel right now. Hold on. Boom. Check out the code. Let's see if it went through on that one. Perfect.
Awesome.
All right. I'll make sure to use the code as well. But Anton, I appreciate the time, man. We'll have to run it back in 6 months. Maybe I'll see you in Abu Dhabi for Breakpoint, man. We're gonna find out who's got a better sleep score while we're out there, and maybe we'll make fun out of it. Maybe get some leaderboards out of it.
We should. Those conferences are always a challenge.
Hey, man, between the steps and the sleep and managing the calendar while we're out there, it's definitely a tough one.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you very much, Anton, for your time. And to the next one. Peace out, man.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.